July. We got WrestleMania. I mean, it doesn't get much better on a Saturday now you turned it in the right direction. Happy Saturday, brother.
It is a great Saturday. And, this is like the lull of the off season. I was like, man, what are we going to do this week? I've been thinking about this all week. You put out a nice video this week that I got to be a part of, which is right up on the top of the Villain Squad page, if you haven't seen it yet. And I was just like, what the hell are we going to talk about today? And I just thought about the circus known as what this part of the off season is. And what is that circus? It's the crazy draft scenarios. We're going to talk a little bit about Ennis Rakestraw today. We're going to get into some of those Brad Holmes press conference takeaways. But then we're going to talk a little bit about the circus sideshow, some of these goofy trade proposals that are out there that are never going to happen, that people just love to just throw out there like it's something that's going to happen after we've seen everything right here. But let's say hello to everybody in the chat. Hello to everybody. And I love my live people. And right now it's Rick C and John Herman. What's up? You like that? And I'm wanting everybody to know that I am going to change this up a little bit because, now that we're kind of doing some stuff here with Johnny Gaz on the regular, I'm going to make our lives that we do on Saturdays a little more exclusive, and it may lower the viewers that we have on a regular basis, but I don't care about that. I want engaged viewers, the people that are going to want to be part of the conversation, because our live crowd is different than what we cut up from this and put and repackage and put back out there. So I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go. We're going to take this at least to the draft, through the draft, but changing it up a little bit because we have some reels, we have some shorter form content that comes out, and I don't want all of the content to come out everywhere. Like, there's going to be certain spots for our reels, certain spots for these lives exclusives. That way it makes it a little bit easier for everybody to find everything that we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, right? We're trying to touch as many Lions fans as we can in the right way. And that sounded weird, but you get what I'm saying. Not in that way, but in the way that, no, we want to connect with people. We want to make sure that in every avenue, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you call it now, you can find the Villain, you can find Johnny Gaz Sports, and you're going to find quality Lions content, true, honest discussion.
And and where are all of those spots? I'm glad that you asked right there. You can find, like I said, the Villain a little bit earlier. I'm on X at 313Villain, and you're on Twitter as well. I call it Twitter, and Johnny Gaz Sports, you can find him everywhere. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. He's probably got a couple other ones that are out there too, as well as the Facebook.
That's the thing, man. You type in at Johnny Gaz Sports in any social that you're on, I promise you will find some Lions content with me involved.
That's right, brother. I want to put a special thank you out to Detroit Lions News Podcast. That's Joe Chap. He is also a blue-collar Lions content creator. Excellent work out there, and I appreciate you letting us jump on your 80,000 person network, and that is really awesome. We're on the Huddle Sports Network. That's on Roku. That's something that we're trying to build out there too, with Bill the Packer fan and Mike the Bear fan and Mike and Mike in the morning, Ken and Ken in the morning, and yeah, we have a nice network of people, but this is the lull of the off season. So what do we talk about? We talk about these crazy scenarios, but I wanted to get into the press conference first with you. I wanted to get your thoughts on this Brad Holmes press conference. Let me get my little slide up here. And he spoke to the media. And what is your first takeaway that you got from the Brad Holmes press conference?
More than anything, what I liked about Brad Holmes, what I've always liked about Brad Holmes, and it came out again here in this press conference, is his true honesty. He's very upfront. I mean, obviously, no GM's going to give away like calls they've made and conversations they've actually had. I mean, there's things you want to hold behind the vest, but he's honest with the fan base about what the approach is, what it has been, what the ideas are, and they've typically stuck to that. So that's really what I got more than anything, was true honesty, what the approach was to the offseason, what their idealism is, just reinforcing that and making sure that everyone understands what the true future plans are. So that was my first takeaway.
Love that. I love that. When I was listening to it, one of the things that always makes me feel better about a Brad Holmes press conference is, like, if I was a GM, I would probably just puke 20 times on the first day and I would screw everything up because I wouldn't be able to hold keep the poise. And we prove it as Lions content creators every year when we're like, go get Myles Garrett. Oh, go get all these guys. Oh, spend all this money. And then he just stays true. And then when he does these press conferences, he just holds true to it. Mm-hmm. So about the halfway point through the press conference, they asked him like what he wouldn't do. And he's just like, listen, guys, you guys do this every time. Get your popcorn ready. Just enjoy the draft. We do what we do, and I haven't changed anything on how I've approached it. I'm not going to reach for players because of this supposed need that we have. Players come and players go. There's different problems every year that you're going to have to address. A brand new contract that's going to come up. Oh, what are you going to do about this? And everybody thinks they're thinking ahead, but they have a plan. They have a concise plan. They plan so well for the draft that by the time the draft comes along, it's just like, it's just like watching a domino thing. They already set up all the pieces. They just got to knock over the first piece, and the draft is going to land however it's going to land. They've already done all of the prep work, how they can get up to get certain players, how's the highest that we can get up, what's every trade scenario. They don't call up the day of the draft like they do in draft day and say, hey, you pancake eating mother. That doesn't work like that. They have all of the trades, like most of the trades that happen on draft days, as crazy as it looks to us, we're playing weeks and weeks in advance.
The thing is, like, I'm not worried at all. And that's the thing that I have. And that's people don't want to say that and hear that, as far as like have faith in Brad Holmes and trust in what he's doing. I think he's proven it though, and he does hold his cards close to the vest as far as what the ultimate move will make. But I think what we've known for sure is like they pinpoint a certain number of what they deem to be first round guys, and then he'll do what's necessary to get their guy. And I think he's patient enough to see what happens ahead of the draft and then react in the right way. And I think he has enough clout within the league to make calls. What was funny about that movie is that was such a tough reality look into what, like a blown up version of that, to cranked up to 12. Those calls aren't made. That kind of language is not used in those conversations. These guys want to work together to make things happen to better all organizations. I mean, yeah, there's some bad blood between families and things like that. And some organizations don't typically work together, but they're not making that kind of weird call. But either way, I think Brad Holmes has a plan. We have gone through the draft and scenarios, so we've pinpointed, I'd say, 12 to 15 guys defensively that we're happy with. I'm sure he's done the same, and I expect him to make the move to get that done.
It's a beautiful thing. And one of the things that another takeaway that kind of leads into one of the other things that I had from this is the Ennis Rakestraw. Another Ennis Rakestraw endorsement. And I'm not talking to like, oh yeah, we're thinking Ennis Rakestraw is gonna, but this is the second time when they brought up and Dan Campbell did it, and now Brad Holmes did it too, where your players and they bring up this player, Ennis Rakestraw. Do you think that means anything that both Brad Holmes and him brought it up, or is it just coincidence, I guess?
I'll even take it one step further. I think you're right on par, or you're right there with this, because I think what happened last year is they knew they needed cornerbacks and they wanted certain players. This is a hot take. I don't know this for a fact. I actually think that Terry and Arnold was the second choice. Okay. And they had to make a move up to get the cornerback because they realized that corners were starting to go off the board. So in my opinion, Enos Rakestraw was always a guy that they liked ahead of time. That's why they were comfortable to double dip and go, well, we're going to take the guy we wanted the whole time anyways. Plus it solidifies the cornerback room. Unfortunately, he got injured and we couldn't get a full season out of him. But if you remember back to last offseason and OTAs and training camp, they were very high on what he was doing there. And he was on a good trajectory to fill in that nickel cornerback role. And I think I see a lot of good things out of him. So I think it's just ultimately the faith they always had in Enos Rakestraw.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels that, when it comes with things like that. Because last year, I was looking through his numbers. I mean, he played in 9 games. I think that he only took a handful of snaps, and he was never right the whole time. And they both mentioned him as second-year players that, like, maybe the outside people aren't looking at. And I think that's why they did mention it. It's like, hey, don't forget about this guy. It's not just because you didn't see him last year, Giovanni Manu or Enos Rakestraw. It doesn't mean that, Makai Wingo. It doesn't mean that they're not going to make a strong second-year impact. They were drafted for a reason. We've gotten impact players late in the draft before. And it's so crazy to me when I listen to people try to label last year's draft. Well, what happened last year? None of those guys even played. It's like, that's because our team is good. You want you rookies playing? Is that what you want? You want rookies playing? Like, honestly, if you could have every year to where rookies came in, they never had to play. What are some of the best quarterbacks in the league that just come in? That is like QBs. It's usually a guy that sat behind a starter for a while, and then, immediately Patrick Holmes,
Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers.
He sat behind Alex Smith. Yeah, I mean, great players sit behind great players. Aaron Rodgers to Brett Favre. So it's not like a weird thing to have a very good player sit behind an experienced player. So, I mean, expectations for Enos Rakestraw, for me, I think that he could vie for that starting nickel cornerback position and maybe win it going in it, and everyone be like, whoa, where'd he come from? They got all these other cornerbacks. It's like, hey, they drafted him in the second round for a reason. Yeah. It's not like he went out there and got burnt by a whole bunch of NFL talent. He just didn't play.
What I love is you're seeing a lot of video from Amik Robertson also coming out this offseason. He's hard at work because I think he knows exactly that. I think he knows Enos is gunning for that position, and he has to maintain that. The nice thing is Amik got to kind of show himself a little more because of the injury situation. So it's going to be a good battle, but that's a good problem to have. That's not a problem the Lions have had in the past. So I'm sure they're happy with where they're at deep in that corner room.
Yeah, I love the cornerback room. It's going to be a bloodbath going into training camp in there, especially for the back end. I mean, there's no more Kendall Vildor. I mean, I think that the bottom end, like when you're talking about the foundation, the weakest players on our secondary are now strong. Like, this is something that's different for Lion fan, right? You usually don't go 5-6 deep in the cornerback room. And you're not going to have 6 Jalen Ramseys before you start ripping on Rock Ya-Sin and Maddox. I mean,
can we get one Jalen Ramsey though? It's possible.
Yeah, you could get one. That's one of the. Hey, you segue well. Look how he does that. He's crazy. This is the craziest. Like, it's like the circus wheels start turning a week before the draft. Every possible scenario of every player has been mocked. I don't give a shit about your mock draft a week before the draft. Stop it. I don't care what guy you got. God, I've done PFF mock drafts so many times that I've mocked every single. I mocked Shadur Sanders too. I don't care. Don't care. If they're going to draft this week, it's going to be great. So, I figured instead of just going against it, and let's just go ahead and entertain all of this circus trade proposals here, and we can start with Jameson Williams. What do you think about? Let's tee this up right. First of all, how is there any possible way that trade scenario could happen, or is it smart? Like, give me your round robin on a possible Jameson Williams trade outside of the circus.
I don't see them making a move like that. I mean, that's just not in their DNA. I mean, they don't trade or give away their players. I think the homegrown guys, the guys they draft, they're just not in the mix for that. So I don't think that's reality. But we have talked about what's going to happen with JMO, and we were very supportive of the 5th-year extension. I think both of us, I don't want to speak for you, but I think we're both sitting there thinking that's a no-brainer. So in their mind, like, they have a free year with him. So I would just sit on it and wait. And in my opinion, I mean, if there was going to be a guy, I'll try to play both sides. If there was going to be one guy that I might say, okay, if you can get something back that you just can't refuse, a couple I mean, nobody's given 2 first-round picks for JMO. That's the thing. It's like the value isn't even really there. So what would other teams really give back to you,
Yeah, and it's to me, it's ridiculous. Completely ridiculous. Like, why would you? I mean, really, for one, are you going to replace that downfield threat? Right? You have to replace the production. You can't just trade the guy. I mean, I'm not in the business of taking talent off of my team for the hopeful that I might be able to replace it. I have the talent on my team right now. Why would I want to replace it? Even if I could draft one of these, like this golden guy from Texas who runs a 4.28, there ain't no guarantee he's Jameson Williams. I mean, you guys crazy? And, what they want, I've seen a couple of these scenarios where, he goes to Dallas for what ends up being like they give us like the 12th, we give them the 28 and a 3rd round pick back. It's like, that's not enough. You're in dreamland. Mm-hmm. Like, give us the 12th overall pick for Jameson Williams, and we might have the 12th overall pick and a 3rd round pick for Jameson. We might have a conversation.
Yeah, that'd be a Dallas move right there. I just think that's so outside of even Dallas's scope. That would be a mistake. I think you're taking such a huge risk and giving up an opportunity for your future. But you're right. That's the craziness that would have to occur to even consider it. I agree with you. I'd have to get something that puts me in the top 15, top 10. But even that sounds ridiculous when I even say it out loud.
On the probability scale of 1 to 100, I put this at like 0.5% of 1%. I'm not even giving this 1% credibility. There's no way it's happening in this offseason. What say you?
I'm with you. 1,000%. No.
Yeah. Now, going for next year, when you're trying to play, how much is a guy worth or whatever. Now, what the Lions are hopeful for is that he is who he says he is and who he's been playing like, and then he has a great season, like a 1,500-yard season with like 12 to 15 touchdowns. Then you're having this conversation next offseason, and then I'm going to put that probability up to, probably 50% at that point, just because of where we're at in the salary cap, and way different salary cap situation next year with a lot of these cap hits starting to come due and everything. So maybe next offseason, but not where his value is right now. They're not going to be able to give you enough for what Jameson Williams could be worth, because how would you like to do that? How would you like to trade him for what that scenario was, where you're just moving up in the draft and getting a 3rd round pick, and then he goes to Dallas and he becomes him? Oof. And then you're like, oh, you traded him for a 3rd round pick? Are you kidding me? Like, stop it. You gotta don't cash in too early.
No, I'm in the Big Dan camp. He's saying that we pick up the 5th year, and then the following we look to possibly franchise tag. I honestly think that's more of the reality situation. I think it saves the Lions money. It gives them an extra year with him, kind of. But doesn't it also depend on like what his year is this year? Because if he just goes off and, like you said, goes 1,500, 12 touchdowns plus, that number goes up. So then you got to figure out, is it really even worth franchise tagging him rather than doing a long-term extension and maybe saving money now, right? But I'm with you, Big Dan. I think with the possibility, I think he has a similar season like he had last year, maybe a couple more tutties. But outside of that, I don't see an ultimate explosion based on the other options the Lions have on offense. If anything, I see Jahmyr Gibbs becoming him. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, I love it. Right now, it's an embarrassment of riches. So, let's realistically, the villain says this. The villain says that we're going to have Jameson Williams on this team for the next 1 or 2 years and just enjoy it, because you can't pay 7 first-round draft picks, which is the essential what they got with a Kirby and Hutchinson and Panay and Amon-Ra, Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs. You can't pay all those players, so somebody's gonna go. And when you're looking at price per position and receivers becoming $35-40 million commodities, can't pay 2 guys like that. Just like on the defensive line, you gotta spread those big contracts out. You could possibly afford 2 safeties. That's why I think that there's a better chance of keeping Kirby and Branch than there is of keeping Jameson Williams.
Yeah, if the 2 safeties were more similar in their play style, I think we'd have a different conversation. But because Kirby and Branch play off of each other so well, and to me, Branch is just a different kind of player, different mold than Kirby. I think you can justify it because you got 2 different skill sets. Wide receiver, though, it's still, and although I think, like you said, the dollar amount's getting up there, I still think, in my opinion, wide receiver is something you can year over year get talent and find free agents and maybe draft the right players here and there. Obviously, you have your staple St. Brown, and that should continue, but then you play off of that. I just think that's the one position you can make those kind of things happen.
Yeah, another trade proposal that was out there. I mean, I think all of these are pretty ridiculous, and it's being reflected. Timothy Carter, thank you, Timothy and Brent. Rick C, they got a good conversation. Steve's in there, my favorite Packer fan in the house. Good morning, Mark. And it's reflected in there. We're getting all sick of it right here. Kayvon Thibodeau, I mean, there was something that was thrown out there. It's like, what? What do you think? This is I put the circus sideshow right here. Cue the circus music. I mean, really? You want this guy? He fails in New York. It's supposed to be some big thing.
Yeah, I heard that too. I did get a little Kayvon tip, but why would the Giants want to do away with him? I mean, I don't know. That's, to me, that again, 2 organizations where you're like, anything's possible. Dallas and the New York Giants. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wouldn't put anything past those 2, but at the same time, Kayvon Thibodeau's a dude. I would never give up that kind of edge rusher, in my opinion. So I'm sticking with him.
Yeah, I mean, that one, I don't even want to spend any time on that. I mean, why? It's so funny, Lion fan. They look at something and it's like, if somebody else gets it, then oh my God, the Lions missed out. Like the Ojulari, that's the most hilarious. Like, I can't believe that you didn't pick him up scenario ever. Like, the dude, he's like James Houston 2.0. He can't set the edge. He can't play the run. And he got some sacks last year. And because we didn't get him, oh my God, what happened? We're not going to be able to get this guy. But if we would have picked that guy up, the first thing we would have pointed out was a shitty PFF grade and the fact that he can't stop the run. Oh, what did they do? They wasted another. It's like, oh my God, I can't even deal with you guys.
It's like a cycle now. The past couple off seasons seem to be like a rotation of the same kind of arguments. And early on, it's edge and pair somebody up with Hutch, and then it's line help as we get a little bit midway, and then as we get close to the draft, it's we'll just let Brad do what he's going to do, So it's like, well, I mean, maybe that's the world we live in. But I like what Broski Bear says. I think there's a strong possibility of that, an offensive lineman there in the first round. I think edge is obviously clearly in the head. So all those arguments all hold weight, and it's all fun discussion. That's why I love it.
I love it. Broski Bear is going to come on here because I know that he's picking at 10. I'm going to start that draft special on, and it's going to be pretty boring for Lion fan all the way up to pick 28. So, Broski, I'm inviting you to come on to the draft special. I'm going to send you a link, and we're going to talk a little bit of Bears football before your pick. You want to be on here too, Johnny? If you want to be for the first round, that's cool. Like that's awesome. Oh, Central Scrutinizer, I love it, dude. WrestleMania, yeet.
Dude, all right.
Yeet your predictions.
Can we go there? Are we allowed to go there on this show?
We can go. We can go there. Okay. We can go to WrestleMania predictions. I want to see where everybody is going. I said something about wrestling. We'll see where everybody is as long as we can get some more yeets in there.
Thank you, Cody. That's a great line.
Big Dan Davis. I love you, Big Dan. Big Dan Davis was here right when I started doing this, when I was just getting my ears, just trying to figure out how to do podcasts and, where to go. Big Dan Davis was a big help to me. I love this. And he says, with the John Morton and the addition of David Shaw to the coaching staff, I'm looking forward to see a bit more running the football, more carries for Gibbs. I'm looking for a big year out of Gibbs. Love it. That's a great comment right there. What say you on that comment?
Oh, I love that. I love it a lot. I mean, those are so underrated. The David Shaw acquisition to me is huge because he's got familiarity with their system. He was a great coach. I just think that's going to kind of allow Jared Goff to continue his progression, not have to change a whole bunch, and going to have a lot of support behind him. And Big Dan, I'm honestly thinking that Gibbs could compete for MVP. If the Lions made a concerted effort and he stays healthy, he has so much dynamic skills, not only running the football, but then can catch the football, play action. Even off the play action, you fake there and you go back to him. It's incredible the things he does for you. So if they get there, I'm with you 100%. I love that.
Yeah, Big Dan Davis. I love that comment right there. So my thoughts on Johnny Morton, I've been on here before. He's not here to make play calls. He's here to make play suggestions to Jared Goff, the offensive coordinator, the leader of the offense.
I love it.
And that's just my opinion on it. It was kind of like that last year. I mean, just knowing how they send plays in, Ben Johnson would send in like 5 plays to Jared Goff, and it was Jared Goff's decision to make, which one of those 5 plays were going to work at the moment after all the, the reads and whatever he does.
Yeah. I mean, this seems obvious, right? But anytime he yells, kill, 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 and you hear it all the time, that's Jared Goff making the decision to change the play, or it's a fake change of the play. And that's what's really great about the quarterback the Lions have. And people just don't want to go there with it. But it's like he's your pseudo offensive coordinator in a 4-minute drill, 2-minute drill. If you have to run to the line of scrimmage, you're getting the right play call because he can dissect it. No, he's not going to Patrick Mahomes you, but he's going to Jared Goff you. And I think this year is going to change some opinions.
Thank you, Cody. I love that. We know our football. It's 365 around here, man. We love our football.
Mm-hmm.
This
where the blue Kool-Aid goes, man. It's really filled to the top today.
I love the demeanor, the way that it's changed over the last few years, because I did do a couple years of very bad podcasting, and I'm not saying it was bad podcasting because I wasn't any good at it, but it was also bad podcasting because nobody was watching because the Lions weren't good. So True. It's like, but the things that we were talking about back then were finding good players. Like, we'd like a good player. Like, oh, we want a guy that we would be able to sign to a second contract. That would be awesome. Like, and now it's so much different now. And people think, oh, you're just drinking the Kool-Aid. It's like, well, maybe, but usually I'm talking about other teams doing the types of things the Lions are doing and being successful and wishing that it was the Lions that were doing those things. Mm-hmm. And now it's us actually doing these things. I mean, having depth and competition we're going to draft 7 guys that, you know, all of the guys are going to have to fight to make this roster, even the first round pick. Mm-hmm. What do you think about that thought, Johnny?
It's, you know, if you're a Packers fan looking in from the outside, Bears, whatever, any organization, you know, yeah, Lions fans, you never experienced it before. You never, you know, so you're drinking the Kool-Aid. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. We haven't gone 15-2 and with a depleted defense and had potential MVPs all over the field. An organization that's making all the right moves, saying all the right things, getting second contracts, third contracts out of guys. You got players wanting to come into the organization from the outside. That's never been a part of the Lions history. So yeah, make fun of us all you want, man. But you know, when the Packers are living the dream, or, you know, we're right there with you. The truth is, catch me 7 years ago and I was still talking Lions because I love them so much, but it was a much more negative conversation because they were terrible. But that's, you know, we live in today's world and the reality of what we're going through now. And the truth is we're living good. So let's play it good.
Well, I love the hate, honestly. When Broski comes in here and he starts roasting us, because the conversations, like I said, were way different 3 years ago. Like, I was on here and Bear fans weren't trolling like this.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at you. You guys suck. You guys think you're no, it was like, oh man, we really feel bad for you guys. Man, if you guys started win, we actually want you guys to start winning a little bit. That would be nice to have Detroit be good again. That would be so nice. And then during 2022, it started shifting a little bit. And it was just like, all we were doing was being happy that our team's winning. Like, oh my God, we won 9 games. Oh, you guys think you're big and bad because you won 9. No, we won 9 games. We were happy that we won 9 games. And next year we go 12-5 and win the division. Well, now there's nobody anymore that's saying, oh, well, we want you to win. You guys can do it. No more of that. Now it's the hate. And that's how I feel. And this is kind of where the villain came from. I want you to hate me. It's exactly what I want you to do. I want you in my comments, Broski, tell me, oh, I hope that your team, you know, you're going to fail because you've never won before. I love that because that lets me know that my team's under your skin. That lets my team, you're sick of us winning to the point where you don't want us to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. You're not, oh, good. We're so happy that you guys are fine. You're not happy anymore. Now you're sick of us. And now you have to get used to it because our team's built right. I mean, you can say, hey, we lost the last game, and that's fine. You know, we choked. We watched them choke. We didn't have our best players, and that's kind of our thing going into, but we still won 15 games. I'm not going to overlook the fact that we won 15 games. Mm-hmm. Our team's hard to beat. We're not going to all of a sudden just win 10 games next year and just all of a sudden everyone's going to be able to kick our ass. It's like we're going to incrementally get better. All of the guys that were going into their first year, going to their second year into the third year into their fourth year, you know, same crew.
Yep. 50 years of losing, no Super Bowl appearances, haven't been to one in the Super Bowl era, 0-16. Barry Sanders, Kelvin Johnson retiring in their primes. Dan Orlovsky running out of the back of the end zone. Didn't win a away game for a year and a half. I think it was more than that. And I know yours was the same way, Villain. We haven't known each other a long time, but I can sit here and very confidently say I'm sure your fandom through all of that never wavered for the Detroit Lions. And that's why I love the community that is Lions football and One Pride, because those people have hung on. I moved out of state 20 years ago now, and I will never, ever give up my Lions, because that's what it's all about. That's why family, faith, football, you say it every time, that's where it's at, man. And so it's like, if I love the competitive back and forth with any fans, you know, from any organization. I love it. It's fun. It's good to razz each other. It's good to get on each other. It's good to give records back and forth. But we've been on the other side of this, and it's hung true. And a lot of people are in that same boat. So that's where I'm at. Happy Easter, man. Go fucking Lions.
No. Happy Easter. And you can drop an F-bomb on here. I believe in God, but I wouldn't consider myself a choir boy. One of the reasons I call myself the villain is, you know, I'm trying to do the best thing, right? I live by my moral code, but I am not perfect, and I make mistakes, and I mess up all the time, and a lot of times you can get looked at like a villain, even though you're trying as hard as you can try, and that's where we're at, man. We like being the villain. It's okay. It's okay to mess up, fail, fail. It's
And
like
F-bombs are part of my reality. I don't drop swear words as hate. I drop them for emphasis on syllables.
But God bless you anyway. God bless these Lions. And I didn't see anybody give us any say, don't you dare, Johnny Gaz, don't you dare start talking about wrestling on this. We got WrestleMania, the WrestleMania card. It's tonight. Night one of WrestleMania. How long have you been watching WrestleManias?
So my fandom's been on and off from when I was very little, 5 years old. You know, we would gather together. My cousins would have the tapes, so we would sit and have to watch, you know, the pre-record tapes. And then time went by, it fell off. High school happened, girls happened, sports happened, you know, and then, you know, college came around and free time happened back up, and I got back into it. But I've always stuck around it. I'm not saying I'm a super fan. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm some kind of historian for wrestling, but it is a spectacle. It is fun, and John Cena is on one heck of a tear right now. It's fun to watch.
So I mean, I my fandom goes on and off too, but like I would probably say I'm a little bit bigger of a fan than you. I have some great memories. When I was in elementary school, I did a report on the history of WrestleMania. Now at that time there was only like 6 of them, but I mean I detailed out the match, and it was really funny. I ended up getting a B on it just because they hated wrestling so much. I did so much, but I did so good at work. It should have been an A. It was such a good, but he hated wrestling so much that he could only give me a B because he's a douchebag. But anyway, I won't go neither here nor there. But I've been following it, and my wife and I, we've been married 10 years, and we had our first date, SummerSlam.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
And I mean, just to give you an idea here, the SummerSlam where Brock Lesnar suplexed John Cena like 7,000, where Suplex City was born.
Yep,
was my first date with my wife.
I remember that very well. The squash match. Yeah, that's awesome, dude. What a memory.
So, but WrestleMania this year, I absolutely love where WWE is going with being worldwide and everything. I mean, and honestly, like America, you know, where we have the wrestling matches, y'all got to get your game up, because the American crowds, you guys got to get your game up, because when they do the WrestleMania tour overseas, because y'all lame in America, they go over there and they do those wrestling tours, and those crowds are crazy. Have you heard some of those crowds?
It's nuts. I've only been to 2 wrestling events in my life. One they came to downtown Glens Falls on a house show, so I was there. I saw some other events, but I haven't been to one of the big ones. I mean, I'd always love to go. It's never been an expense I've been willing to pull the trigger on. But let's talk. One thing I got to know though. Okay, let's get into this, because I think we might lose some people. In the main event, night 2, Sunday, Cody versus Cena, with him retiring, do they allow him to win the title? I think this would break Flair's record, right? If I'm not mistaken. So do they go that route, or does John Cena do the ultimate hero move, take the pin and say, I'll let Rick ride in the sunset as the ultimate champion?
Well, for one, this isn't going to be John Cena's last match.
You don't think so?
It won't be, because he's touring. It's his last hoorah. He's going to do the WrestleMania tour. He'll be part of all the events. He was already part of the I don't know if he came out for Royal Rumble. It might have been the event after that. So, no, he won the Royal Rumble. So I think because he's a bad guy now, that he's going to take that 17th title.
Okay.
And he's going to go on a little tour because he's kind of abandoned the fans. That's his whole thing. He doesn't care if you like him. He's like, I'm breaking up with everybody. Whether you like me, whether you're on the Let's Go Cena or the Cena sucks side, then I don't care anymore. I'm bigger than all of that. And I love it. So
what about your thoughts? What about just your thoughts on Cena overall, man? Are you a Cena guy outside of this last run? Are you, because I mean, to me, he carried that company on his back for, I'd say, over a decade, where it was really fading after that era that it just exploded. So, I mean, is that where you're at with him, or do you see it differently?
John Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time.
Nice.
And there's not, and you can go any other way. If you want to say The Rock is, I think you're full of crap, because he went off and he did his movie thing. John Cena still had a full-time schedule when he was doing the movies. So he wouldn't let the movies affect what he was doing in wrestling. And every single time he'd have to come back, he'd come back because none of the current wrestlers could carry the torch. Like, he wanted to retire 10 years ago, you know, and it's like you keep getting pulled back into the situation. It is what it is. But I don't want to lose everybody on that. That's our WrestleMania talk right there. Go Mania. If you're watching WrestleMania, let me know in the comments. If you think wrestling sucks, let me know in the comments while we move on to some of these the wacky trade proposals.
Back to the Lions. I love it all. I love it all.
The wacky trade proposals right there. The Kayvon Thibodeau and then this one's been there the whole time. And this one, believe it or not, this Trey Hendrickson trade, I think, is the most probable out of all of them. And I don't think it's probable at all. But I would give it a full 1% chance as a trade proposal, under the pretense that the big contract ain't going to happen with him. No. You're going to get traded here. We're going to give you a third round, second and third round pick, and then you're going to play out your existing contract and not play here again. We are using you as a mercenary, and that's the only way it's going to work here, because that's the only way it could work long term. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the Trey Hendrickson thing I thought was maybe close to a possibility in the early stages of this, but then the Bengals just be bungling, and I guess their routine is just to not help their players out and then put everybody in a situation where we're in midnight mode where I got to make a decision. And in most cases, they end up just throwing a bunch of money at the player, which they did exactly that with Garrett. And I think the same thing will happen with Trey. They'll ride this out. They'll get to the training camp and he won't come and he won't report. And then they'll go, oh, here you go. And he'll get everything he wanted originally without all this talk, so it is what it is. I think he would have fit well in our system. I think he would play well opposite Aiden Hutchinson. It would have been great, but I just don't think the reality of that situation was going to happen.
Well, yeah. We all want the best players on our team. I mean, that would be great to have two $40 million a year pass rushers on our team. I mean, that would be awesome. That's just not reality. And we have a thing that's a beautiful thing, which is it's called a fluid salary cap. And even with all these big contracts coming due, Brad Holmes has just been cool like Denzel, sitting there and running his plan all the way through. And he's not going to do anything to jeopardize that fluid salary cap to be put into a position that the Cincinnati Bengals are in. How would you like to be in that position? You've overpaid two wide receivers at the same time, and then you have your quarterbacks on a max contract, and now you have about $1.75 to roster the rest of your team. How would you like to be in that situation? Oh, but we have Joe Burrow. They're never going to win a Super Bowl with that team, with that roster. You can't put a roster together paying four guys $40 million a year. You can't do it. It's impossible. Unless you are the greatest GM in the history of GMs.
Yeah, until that team puts a defense on the field that they can stop people.
With
I mean,
what?
Joe Burrow is not doing anything for you. I love Joe Burrow. I do. I feel bad for him, sort of, but he's in a situation too where, Ohio kid drafted by an Ohio team. It's like he's almost caught there or trapped there, and now they're not giving him. Oh, here's 2 wide receivers to play with. Well, you got to stop people too.
Yeah, and the thing is if you overpay the one guy, okay, Trey Hendrickson might be able to get you some sacks, but you're not going to be able to roster. I mean, you're going to have to draft so well. When you're like the Philadelphia Eagles, and we'll see if that works. But they lost a lot of talent, But they do have the next man up that's on a rookie deal that they drafted, they do have those slidable in there guys. Cooper DeJean's a great player, but he wasn't thrown into the fire. There's a lot of good players, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Darius Slay, that were playing in front of him, and Maddox that was playing in front of him, that insulated him. He didn't have to go out there. That's the beautiful thing. The rookie didn't have to play as much. And then when he learned the defense and the time was right, now he's there ready to take it over. And now you got a rookie deal. Now you don't have to, because right now you're paying for Saquon Barkley. You're paying for Jalen Hurts. You're paying for A.J. Brown. And that's fine. But you have to be hitting in the draft. And that's what they're doing. They have a fluid salary cap. That's why they're successful. The Lions also have a fluid salary cap. Mm-hmm. We win 15-2 without our 2 best defensive players. And that's a fact. We will have those players back by the time playoffs roll around, at least for the Aleem McNeil part. But we're going to have a fully healthy Aiden Hutchinson.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see what the Bengals do in the draft. Big Dan brings up a good point. They don't even have the money to pay all their players and Trey Hendrickson. So that'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I think when all said and done, and now these guys are talking about what Brad's going to do in the draft, you're right. I don't think he was making a move for Trey Hendrickson. I don't think he was going to give up capital or pay him that amount of money to another player that they're not comfortable with, they didn't draft and develop. But I do think he's making a move here to get the guy that they want, at least in the draft.
And that would be something. We are a couple players away. And that's one of the things that Brad Holmes did say as much when he was talking 2 days ago, where they are aware that you could get a couple players where they're gonna fight to make this team. Mm-hmm. None of those draft picks, there's nothing that guarantees that they're going to be able to roster those guys. We're well over 70 players right now, and right now all of the players that we have played NFL snaps before. They're all experienced. So all of the draft picks are going to walk onto this team with a roster that's going past 53 already of players that have played, that have experience. We've never had anything like this. That's essentially the whole roster, and the practice squad's already set. So the guys we draft are going to have to make the team. That's crazy when you think about it.
It's awesome. It's a great place to be. Yeah, I think outside of the first couple rounds, you're absolutely right. It's just it's a attrition now with the roster, and who can win jobs, and they put themselves in just an amazing position. I think what they've done in the depth defensively in the offseason, those little small moves they made at D tackle and linebacker, and really I'm very confident in it. And I think now they've always set themselves up the last 3 years to basically go, all right, Brad, figure it out for us.
That's right.
Move. Yep.
And whatever player, and it's like wherever we've proven that we can get a 6th-round draft pick to start, right? So it's like it doesn't matter what round they get these guys in. These guys are going to have a chance to make the roster. Now, I would think that the clearer path to a starting would be, obviously interior offensive lineman or pass rusher. You could get on the field for, if you earn those spots. And I know that we all poo-poo on, Marcus Davenport and Josh Pascal, but those guys aren't going to be easy to pass on a depth chart. Even if they draft a guy in the first round, let's say they get, Jamar Stewart, and he's gonna mess everybody. They're still going to have to pass Marcus Davenport. Stewart would have to pass those guys, even if they drafted Abdul Carter. He would still have to pass our guys on the depth chart. It's not just like a foregone conclusion. This guy played college last year. This is professional football. So, I don't want to oversell, any of these guys that are going to come in from the college. It's like, here's a good question for you, Johnny. Like, just based off of this quarterback, right? Hendon Hooker versus any of these guys that are in the draft right now. What do you value more? The guy that's hyped up from all of the draft process, or a guy that's had 2 years in the system? Ready, go.
I want the guy that's
my quarterback.
I'm 100% over. There's less emphasis and coaching resources you have to put into that player. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but like a rookie coming in, you got to learn the system. You got to then, where do you fit in that system? And can you beat out the players around you? I just think the organization would rather spend time on guys that they, like you said, draft, develop, and work through the system. So although Hendon Hooker is a fun discussion, I think to answer your question directly, I'm hanging on to him every time.
Yeah, I believe that too. Draft and develop. I've always believed that progression is the most dangerous thing from year to year when you're talking about systems and guys learning how to play, within a system. That's way more dangerous than any player that you could bring in, because that new player has to learn the new system, like from the ground. Now, you may have a guy that has a high upside and the chances of him jumping right in and doing well, like take the Packers, for instance, when you got, Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. Those guys have such a talented skill set that you're like, okay, these guys are probably going to jump right in and be good. And they were. But it's like it's more dangerous to me, the fact that, a guy like Jordan Love is going to go into his third season into the system. He's going to understand things a little bit better. He's going to know his receivers' routes and tendencies even more. That's more dangerous than any one player that there is, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And a couple things in the chat. Dan brings up Marcus Davenport, kind of a similar situation where it's like, if he stays healthy, I think that's a sleeper guy for where could be a difference maker on defense. I'm not saying he's Aiden Hutchinson or going to be, all pro, but it's like he has the ability, if healthy, to get 10 plus sacks in a season. And I'm very confident that if he can stay healthy, you might see that this year. So, that's a hot take, but that's a great spot to be. And I think, Lions have set themselves up for success.
Yeah, to me, every game that you get Marcus Davenport over 3, to me, is plus games. Especially at what you're paying him. Some bubble gum, maybe a a package of dice and some cards.
A whiteboard that you can write positive affirmations on for him every day.
Yeah, nobody's depending on Marcus Davenport for anything except for the Lions. They re-signed him. And Josh Pascal too. He was playing out of position last year. He rushes from the inside better than he does the outside, and they had him setting the edges. That's fine because he needed to fill a need, and you got to be able to set an edge if you're on the outside. But his best pass rushing comes from the interior, a lot like Lee McNeil's. Mm-hmm. So it's like we haven't had the depth to be able to deploy the people in the way that we wanted to deploy them all, especially like cornerbacks. It's like eventually you get guys playing way out of position. Terrion Arnold didn't have the best game in the last game. Well, there's no Amik Robertson, there's no Carlton Davis, there's no people that he's used to seeing being in the spots. It is what it is. Injuries catch up to you.
Yeah, I think ultimately the best ideal situation would be, so they draft the edge and kind of set them behind Davenport, right? Kind of learn the system, learn how this will work. And depending on what edge they draft, it might not fit exactly the mold of Davenport. So again, you just have them come in and find out how they help the defense the most. I mean, I think there's only a small handful of defensive players that can come in and are just going to day one be true defensive difference makers. And everything on the Lions defense is geared towards flushing things to Hutch. And I don't think that really changes, especially with who they draft. So ideally they come in, they sit behind Davenport or with them, ultimately take that other's edge spot over time. I think it works in every position in football. If you can get experience, it'll help you out long term.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about the right now thing, I mean, that's fine if you can get a guy that can contribute day one, get in there in some snaps. But more importantly, can you get a guy that has such a high upside that by week 10, week 12, ramping up, all of a sudden he starts getting more accustomed to it, and then he takes it over by week 10, week 12. I think that's what we're looking for, and that's why you got a Pascal and a Davenport in there on a one-year deal, because you have to bridge that gap. I don't expect Davenport to be the answer the entire year. I mean, even if he does work, right? Let's say that he works. What's he going to want? He's going to want pay. He's going to want to. He's doing a prove it deal. Yes. He's trying to prove it. We ain't going to pay him $10+ million a year. You are a bridge, Mr. Davenport. If we can get 5 sacks out of you, you win because you'll go get a contract somewhere. And we win because we got production out of you. And now we have a younger player that is going to slide into your spot. Now, that's what we hope.
Yep.
We'll see what they do in the first round. I hope they do move up, man. I hope they, honestly, I want some fireworks. If we have to give some next year away or whatever to make it exciting, I'm selfish. Trade away some of the future a little bit. I want some excitement next Thursday. I want to trade up in the top 10 and get the guy.
Yeah. Let's blow it up. Let's blow up the world. I would love that. Who knows? So I think, it's really hard to move up so high, right, without giving away the farm. And I think Brad's going to package up the 3rd round picks in some way. That's just where I'm at with this. I think package those up, move up a couple spots if things fall your way. It should be very exciting. This one's going to prove to a lot of people how everyone is full of crap, because all these mock drafts, everybody's been laying out exactly how this is going to go. Outside of, I think, pick 1, I really think things go a little haywire. So it should be interesting. Should be a good one.
No, it won't. It'll be so. Everybody's done so many mock drafts. I guarantee that whatever player they pick landed in one of your mock drafts, and you'll go, you see, I nailed it.
In mock draft 38, I did exactly this.
Oh, that's good stuff, man. Oh, we cover an hour. It goes too fast, man. Maybe when we get into the season, we'll have to make it longer.
Yeah, for sure.
But tell everybody where you're at, Johnny.
I appreciate you, bud. Thanks for having me on. As always, these Saturdays have become a nice routine. At Johnny Gaz Sports, all the socials, Facebook, YouTube, X, anywhere you want to go, type in at Johnny Gaz Sports. We just started a new series called Touchdown. We're going to go through scoring plays, scoring reviews for all of the Lions scores in 2024. We'll continue that as we get closer to the season, but it's been a lot of fun, buddy. Thanks for having me on.
You like that? You like that? You like that?
That's right. Oh, hell yeah.
Let's
We
go.
love the
Steve.
Detroit Lions. And this is the Lion Villain Report. I didn't even put out the sponsor to our show. That's all right. You want to buy a jersey? You want to support the stream? Right there. We got fanatics.com. If you use our link, you can save up to 25% off your order. From fanatics.com, you can get that fancy pullover hoodie, or you can get whatever gear you want in there. You can get WWE gear for your WrestleMania tonight, right there. And honestly, you probably don't want to buy WWE gear from this one. Wait till tonight if you're going to do that, because they usually run half off during the thing. See, that's how I can tell you that I ain't just trying to make money off you. because I just told you not to use my link. But, if you're a Packer fan, whatever, you use that link, save up to 25% off your order from our affiliate marketing partners at fanatics.com. Yes. So, Lion Villain Report. You can catch us every Saturday at 10 a.m. during the off season. Special coverage. I got to make me a graphic for this. For the draft starting, I cover the Villain Squad Facebook page covers 100% of the draft. I will be live for the whole thing. I'm going to have all kinds of guests that are coming on. Johnny's going to pop on whenever he feels like it. We're going to have Bear fans on here, Packer fans on here. We're going to try to get a fully loaded program looking for the draft, picking our favorite people. Coverage is going to start right at
Brad Holmes graphic up there, buddy.
What's that?
You got Brad Holmes graphic up there. Show them where we're at.
So, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, right? That's when we're going to be doing that draft. I'm going to cover the whole damn thing. I didn't have a graphic.
Oh, all right.
I don't have a graphic yet.
My bad.
But I want you to join us. I want to thank everybody that's in the comments right now that stayed all the way to the end. Central Scrutinizer.
You guys.
Rick C. John Herman. The ones that everybody that comes onto the live version of this show. We thank everybody that's watching this on the extended version. If you're just watching this on a replay, we appreciate you too. It's faith, family, and then football on here. We use it. We use football. We don't let football use us. Thank you so much for watching the Villain Report. My name is Russell Wayne. This is Johnny Gaz. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord shine his face upon you until we meet again in Jesus' name. Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter.
Watching. Man. God bless you.